Hello bankers, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome back. So guys, from this session onwards, we are going to start with our ABM concept classes summary for your upcoming examination. All right. So hope you guys are doing well with your exam preparation. So we have almost 13 to 14 days in our hand. So in next these many days, what I'll be doing, I'll be covering the concept areas as well as unit wise practice and module wise marathon session, right? So BFM I have almost done with the concept things as well as first or two set of unit wise MCQs and application based question. Simultaneously I'll be delivering you the case studies for the upcoming examination. This time we have 10 days for our BFM subject, so we do not need to worry about that particular one. So 10 days full-fledged will be having a module-wise marathon, case studies, as well as application-based question. Okay? So now our very first target is ABM subject. So we'll be doing so many things around this particular one. Okay? So ABM module A is done by Piyush sir. I'll be adding some other content in that particular one. Right now we are starting with module C, then we'll do module B and then module D. Okay? So in next 7 to 8 days, we'll be covering the entire things related to this particular subject. So module C आपका credit management. So very first unit is overview of credit management. Then we have analysis of financial statement, working capital management, term loan, credit delivery, and straight through processing. Then we have credit control and monitoring, risk management and credit ratings, restructuring, rehabilitation and recovery. Then we have resolution of stress asset and insolvency and bankruptcy code 2016. So okay, these are the units which are generally part of this particular one, and each and every single unit is important for your examination. Okay? So we will start our discussion with very first unit, unit number 17, which is an overview of the your credit management. Okay? So if it comes to this particular unit, we have importance of credit, historical background, principle of credit. This is one of the most important subtopic. Type of borrowers, type of credit, component of credit management, the most important unit from this one, and the आपका RBI guidelines. Okay, so these are the three subtopics which are very important one from this particular unit itself. One is principle of your credit management as well as आपका the components and RBI guidelines, which generally cover around the PSL, MSMEs, NPA provisioning, and also they are generally part of this particular one. I have done one set of question based on unit 17. I hope आप लोगों ने वो देख लिया होगा. अगर नहीं देखा तो आप उसको इसके बाद देख सकते हैं, ठीक है. So now first I'll be providing you the concept summary things and all, so you can brush up your knowledge toward these particular areas, and then you can participate in the unit wise MCQs, case studies, and application based question, right? So when it comes to unit number 17, credit management and overview, so it include like these are the important areas. So one by one we are going to cover each and every subunit of this particular one. Okay? So we will start with the principles of it. Okay? So when it comes to the principle of credit or lending, okay, it include basically these are the core or cardinal principle of lending. ठीक है, तो जिसमें हमारा क्या क्या चीजें आती है, सेफ्टी. फर्स्ट थिंग आपका ensure that the borrower can repay the loan, which include capacity to pay, willingness to pay, and income generation ability. ठीक है, so whenever we give loan to any customer, when we do the loan appraisals, so we generally consider these many areas. ठीक है, कि जितना भी वो लोन आपका ले रहे हैं, ठीक है, वी कैन यूज फॉर और द अदर रेशियोज आपका. ठीक है, कि ओवरऑल डेट कितना है और उसके ऊपर आपका उनके मंथली इनकम आपका जो टेकवे है वो कितना बचता है, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली वी do the loan appraisals, and उसी के basis पे we decide the limit, interest rate, as well as आपका the overall capacity or the credit based on the credit worthiness of that particular customer. We decide the limit for the customer. ठीक है, liquidity is again the another important components of your lending principle. ठीक है, ensure money lent is available for repayment as per schedule. Bank must maintain enough liquid asset to meet depositor demands and avoid illiquidity. It is something this we have discussed so many time in our BFM also. Okay. So rapid creation of assets sometime that can hurt the overall ALM performances, right? So we are taking deposit from the customer. From those particular deposit only we are creating assets. So whenever we are making any asset, so we have to assess that particular one very well, and we have to maintain that आपका a proper match between assets and liabilities, maturity as well as आपका amounts. ठीक है. Next one आपका profitability. This is again a key. ठीक है. I hope you remember that balance between liquidity and solvency. That what a bank want. ठीक है. So bank aim to earn profit on advances to cover operational cost and reward shareholders. Pricing of advance depend on borrower's risk, purpose, and profitability. Basically, the profitability measures are basically NII, positive NII, net interest income, or आपका NIM, net interest margin and all. They generally comes under this one. Purpose आपका loan should be for productive or approved purposes only. ठीक है. Diversification of risk, there should not be any sort of concentration at our in our asset side. ठीक है. So जो भी loan हम दे रहे हैं, so that is a very well diversified. ठीक है. कहीं ना कहीं हर एक areas के अंदर proper allocations आपके होने चाहिए. ठीक है. So if one sector is, let's say आपका, I hope you remember that concentration risk. ठीक है. So this is something, let's say a bank have done something, they have built up their portfolio something like this. Let's say they have given maximum loan to IT sector, yeah, about 60-70%, and rest other sectors, okay, or economies. So this, if something happened to IT sector, economy wise and all, so this bank is going to face huge losses due to concentration risk. So what we generally expect from bank while we create the asset, so there should be a proper diversification. Okay. Security, educate security, collateral must be back the loan. So if in case of any default, we can recover those particular one. Okay. So these are the cardinal principles of your आपका lending or credit. Okay. Now we generally follow 7 C's in our banking for the credit purpose. These are the character, willingness and integrity of the borrowers, capacity, ability to generate income and repay, capital, borrowers own investment in business, collaterals, backup security for loan, conditions, economic and market context, credit worthiness, overall financial health and track record of the customer, cash flows, primary source of repayments आपका. ठीक है. So we generally assess that particular borrowers based on these particular or these many grounds itself, right? Now there is one another subtopic, type of borrowers. ठीक है. So we can have these many borrowers in our system. A borrower can be an individual for the personal requirements or for the home loans, for car loans, sole proprietary firm, Hindu undivided families, HUF, one person company, आपका partnership firm, LLPs, joint ventures, private and public companies, statutory corporation, trust, real estate investment trust, cooperative societies, club and association, local authorities, institution and government departments. ठीक है. तो आपका इनमें से कोई भी they can approach to our bank for the any kind of loan purposes, right? This is a very simple one, everybody knows about this one. Now our facilities, when it comes to the facilities आपका which we generally provide to the customers, majorly they are categorized between two areas. One is fund based services where we generally provide where there is a direct cash flow is involved. Another one is आपका fee based services where we generally work as a guarantor and we charge some sort of fee आपका. ठीक है. So sometimes their occurrence is based on the contingency. ठीक है. That flow आपका fund flow may occur or may not. ठीक है. जैसे in case of letter of credit. So if that borrowers default, in that case only you have to make payment. Otherwise, like if they are making payment on timely basis, so you do not have to disburse money to the borrowers आपका. ठीक है. That is the kind of or a sort of guarantee which is provided by bank to the आपका as a opening bank for the LC. We generally provide some sort of guarantee to the sellers. If you'll fulfill the requirement of that particular invoice, we assure you कि you will get your payments और आपका full payments on timely basis, right? So we have two type of facilities आपका fund based where we generally provide direct like there is a movement of money from our bank to the borrower's account. It can be आपका like cash or credit overdraft. It can be any term loan or demand loan, or it can be of sort of bill finance. ठीक है. Non-fund based credit facilities, आपका bank guarantee, acceptance facility, letter of credit and all, they are generally get involved in this particular one. ठीक है. So unit number 17 is basically an overview to entire module C आपका. तो यहाँ पे ज़्यादा challenge नहीं आना चाहिए. ठीक है. Now this part is the most important. ये सबसे ज़्यादा important है अभी तक का हमारा ये part. ठीक है. So where we have component of credit management and the another one is RBI guidelines. Okay, so when it comes to the component of credit management, it has these many areas like loan policy of banks. One by one, we are going to discuss all these areas in detail. Okay. So loan policy आपका that we have taken a basic introduction also. Okay. Appraisal आपका, then we have delivery mechanism. Okay. Control and monitoring, credit risk management, rectification, restructuring and recovery, and the final one is refinance आपका. So when it comes to the components of credit management, these are the areas where we generally interact with the customers on the day-to-day basis. It can be around the basic policies around any particular loan. It can be आपका project finance or it can be आपका home loan, car loan, personal loan. ठीक है. For each and every segment, we have different guidelines, and even these guidelines are vary from bank to bank, as well as we have some sort of regulatory compliances as well. ठीक है. So there must be a adherence to those particular guidelines as well. ठीक है. Appraisal is something where we do the आपका KYC, आपका due diligence and all everything, and the documents, requirements, everything. Delivery आपका where we making some sort of disbursement. ठीक है. And आपका control and monitoring where we are like we have existing asset base and all, so we are having some sort of loan review mechanism and all for this particular. Okay. Again for this credit risk management, rectification if in case of any default. Okay. Restructuring. Okay. We offer the restructuring things, or sometimes customers they approach for the restructuring. Okay. And the final one is recovery in case of any default. Okay. Then refinance is basically, let's say, it can be done through the domestic financial institutions like NABARD and all. Okay, so we generally act as the mediators, and we try to build a chain between these DFIs and आपका target customers. ठीक है. So loan policy आपका first one is loan policy. Bank loan policy outline the framework for evaluating and sanctioning credit proposals. It can be any variety of proposal. It can be for a project finance by a company, or it can be for a home loan by a individual customer. Okay. So it's say by market condition, competitors policy, and bank SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, and opportunities and threat, and RBI guidelines. So whenever it comes to the loan policy, it is a kind of combination. Few things are decided by bank and few things are decided by RBI itself, right? So setting what comes under this particular one, setting exposure limit for individual client and connected group आपका. ठीक है. Exposure limit is something कि एक particular customer को हम maximum कितना loan देंगे, and what will be the आपका areas on the basis of those particular things you are going to judge the overall credit worthiness of that particular customer. For that sake, we have external credit rating agencies as well as we have our internal mechanism also. ठीक है. So it is for individual and आपका for the group borrowers. Sector based exposure आपका in a specific to deal with any kind of concentration risk in our system. We have आपका sector based exposure limit कि इस particular sector के अंदर will like overall portfolio का इतना will be the cap for our bank. ठीक है. So basically it totally depend on the risk appetite of the bank as well as the credit worthiness of the borrowers. ठीक है. Then we have granting a discretionary power at various level for loan sanctioning, like we have a head office, regional office, branches. Even in branch also आपका we have different posts and all. ठीक है. So let's say if it is a आपका branch manager, they can sanction up to 5 crores, or आपका if it is a PO, they can sanction up to this limit. So those kind of things which generally comes under this, including provision for overdraft and ad hoc limits. Okay. So these are the areas. This we have practiced with the question also. I hope you guys remember. Second part is appraisal. When it comes to the appraisal, loan appraisals आपका. ठीक है. So loan appraisal policies. Every bank they do have like we do have RBI guidelines, so they are kind of a must, like there must be adherence to those particular guidelines, as well as there are some input from the bank itself. Bank wise, we have some sort of guidelines and all. So while we grant any loan to any customer, so there these appraisal policies must be met. Okay, so जैसे आपका क्या क्या चीज़ इसमें मिलेंगे, बैकग्राउंड, क्रेडिट हिस्ट्री, market report of the borrowers. Then we have the financial track record of the borrowers as presented by financial statements. Financial statement, in case of a company, it is their balance sheet, profit and loss statement and all. In case of an individual, we ask for ITR forms of last 2 years or their income statements, aapka sources of income and all. They generally comes under this. Where the statement are not available, in case most of the individual, the net worth and repayment capacity is judged by the collecting detail of assets and liabilities and sources of income. ठीक है, sources of income means आपका their salary slips और ITRs and all. ठीक है, C आपका techno economic feasibility reports of the activity are proposed, ठीक है, especially for the project financing. ठीक है, the detail required in the detail required in this depend on nature of activity and amount of loan. The purpose to ensure that there is a reasonably high probability of the activity being successful and bank getting back its principal interest in the time basis. Let's say if somebody, some organization, they are approaching you for some sort of project. So what we do the project evaluation also. How this project is going to generate cash flows for the organization, and even for the cross check, we also visit their project areas and all. ठीक है, so we want to make sure कि जो भी पैसा हम यहाँ पे लगा रहे हैं, whatever money we are lending to those particular customers, so we are going to get back those particular one. ठीक है, securities available आपका their value and आपका realizability. ठीक है, so securities आपका if it is available, so what is the current market value, and even securitization process also we generally prefer the securities whose market value is आपका very less or least volatile. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं कि आपका दे आर हाईली वॉलेटाइल्स, तो मार्केट के साथ उनकी वैल्यू चेंज होती रहेगी. ठीक है, सो हाई वॉलेटाइल मींस देयर वैल्यू मे डिक्रीज. ठीक है, अगर डिक्रीज होगा दैट इज गोइंग टू मेक सम नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट ऑन द ओवरऑल सिक्योरिटाइजेशन. वी डू नॉट एक्सेप्ट द पेरिसेबल गुड्स इन ऑल. ठीक है, so it can be pledge, it can be hypothecation, it can be mortgage, or else we go for the assignment things also. Okay, so these are the things which generally comes under your appraisal process. Okay, apart from this, we have lots of RBI guidelines regarding the credit management. Okay, so which include NPA provisioning, loan to the priority sector, MSMEs, or your MCLR. ठीक है, आपका then external benchmark rate since 2019 itself. So there are so many things. Earlier there was आपका base rate, then MCLR, then आपका the external benchmark lending rates. ठीक है, so these are the one. ठीक है, so now one by one we are going to discuss all these subtopics. छोटे छोटे areas हैं. ठीक है, with the help of how these particular things are going to help you. ठीक है, I'll make a compilation also, तो जहाँ पे you can revise things with the help of these particular PDFs. And this content is 100% aligned with your Macmillan book, so you'll find easy. आपको वो आपका 1300 पेज का बुक पढ़ने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा. If you'll go through these particular one again and again, so because this examination is purely driven by the concept things, ठीक है, तो आपको चीजें थोड़ा सा आसान हो जाएंगी. ठीक है, so role of RBI guidelines in bank credit management, this is again वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सब टॉपिक आपका. ठीक है, विच इज पार्ट ऑफ दिस वन. ठीक है, तो जहाँ पे दे हैव गिवन सो मेनी एरियाज आपका. ठीक है, जैसे एनपीए प्रोविजनिंग दिया हुआ है आपका, जैसे हमने एमसीएलआर बेस रेट इनकी बात करी, या फिर आपका पीएसएल के पूरे गाइडलाइंस दिए हुए हैं, एवरीथिंग. ठीक है, सो द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ बैंक टू इंश्योर दैट फंड they provide are used for the approved purposes. Bank must implement measure to monitor the flow and end use of fund, preventing misuse such as diverting working capital for investment or fixed asset purchase, that is called siphoning of funds. Okay? Or even sometimes it is done for the personal purposes also. Okay? To do this, bank may adopt these following practices. Okay? So these are the general practices for the credit आपका basically credit which is generally provided by bank to the customers itself. ठीक है, so that is generally part of this particular one. ठीक है, Okay, so it include आपका securitizing team. Basically, we are asking for some sort of securities. So in case of any default, we can recover that particular money. ठीक है? So periodic progress and financial report of borrowers. ठीक है? Sorry, it is not securitizing. ठीक है? It is आपका collaterals team. It is आपका scrutinizing team. So basically, it is आपका अब जांच हम लोग उसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में आपका. It is something which is we are keep updating that particular asset. We are doing if it is आपका let's say आपका there is a borrowers who have taken lots of money from the bank, so we are doing some sort of regular credit audit on that particular loan, so we can check the overall credit worthiness, how the financial health of that particular borrower is working. अगर उसमें कोई credit weakness आ रही है, so how we can mitigate those particular and what are the risks involved and how we can mitigate those particular one. ठीक है? So periodic progress and financial report of borrowers. ठीक है? Conducting site visit आपका, as I said earlier also, कि what we do generally do, we visit the site जहाँ पे भी वो project, जिस भी project को हम लोग finance करें, even in case of home loan also, we first visit the house आपका जहाँ पे भी है, we ask for the e-खाता things and all, so we can make sure कि हाँ that is that property or that project really exists and they do have that capability to deliver those particular project and all. ठीक है? Inspecting the securities charged to the bank, examining the borrower's accounting records regularly, carrying out stock and audit based on the level of exposures, collecting certificate borrowers, confirming appropriate funds utilization and all, that is generally part of this one. Okay? So there are so many advice line. Then next one we have priority sector categories आपका. ठीक है? So RBI has mandated some areas कि जहाँ पे you have to have lend some portion of your overall A and B C और आपका COB. ठीक है? That is the one. I hope you guys remember the PSL guidelines. So we have different guidelines. So like for normal banks, आपका normal commercial bank, they have to lend 40% of their COB or आपका A and B C to the 40% of their A and B C to the priority sector. ठीक है? In case of a commercial bank. ठीक है? In case of a cooperative bank from 25-26 onwards, it has become 75% for this year. ठीक है? Then when it comes to the other areas like small finance bank, again 75%, RRB is आपका 75%. So we do have this categorization. So these are some uh, core areas of Indian economy. ठीक है? So for the development, basically these are very loan sensitive areas. Repaying capacity is very less. So usually bank they try to avoid these particular. So RBI come up with some mandate आपका कि ओवरऑल जो भी आपका लैंडिंग है उसका सर्टेन पोर्शन यू हैव टू गिव टू दीज पर्टिकुलर एरियाज. ठीक है? सो फॉर दैट वन RBI decide which sectors qualify as priority sector and the minimum credit allocation bank must provide to these sectors. The RBI monitor this through the regular return submitted by banks and performance is reviewed under the lead bank scheme at various administrative levels also. Okay, so these are the areas which are generally categorized as आपका priority sector. ठीक है? Sometime you'll see 9 आपका if you'll open the RBI website and 9th one is आपका weaker section. ठीक है? So these are the most important areas for the Indian economic development. So where bank they have to, in case of a normal bank like SBI, they have to lend 40% of their A and B C adjusted net bank credit or COB to the priority sector. And even we have some subnorms also. Out of this, they have to lend 18% for agriculture. 18% is earmarked for agriculture. Then we have for weaker section, they have to lend आपका 12%. We have आपका next one की let's say for MSCs. ठीक है? MSCs आपका they have to lend 7.5% in all. ठीक है? So these are the regulatory compliances and we have to have meet with these particular requirement and we have to report these particular one on regular interval. ठीक है? And basically this responsibility is given to the lead bank of that particular district level. ठीक है? तो ये बहुत ही important areas हो जाते हैं and you cannot skip these areas because these are the part of the prudential guidelines or regulatory guidelines. ठीक है? When it comes to the guidelines, I hope maximum people know around these particular thing, but for this आपका you can have this one. So priority sector आपका domestic commercial bank excluding RRBs, foreign banks with 20 branches in above, it is 40%. of their आपका COB or your ANBC, ठीक है. In case of this is the primary rule. These are the kind of subcategories, ठीक है. Out of which 18% is earmarked for the agriculture, and micro MSMEs आपका 7.5% and weaker section आपका 12%, ठीक है. If it comes to less than 20 branches of foreign banks, they do not have sub targets आपका 40%, ठीक है. In case of regional rural banks, 75% आपका, ठीक है. 18% for your agriculture, 7.5% for the weak आपका MSCs, ठीक है. Then आपका 15% for weaker section, ठीक है. Small finance bank आपका 75%, 18% agriculture, 7.5 and 12% here itself, ठीक है. Apart from this, there were some changes आपका from 1st April 2025 onwards. These changes are mostly about the cooperative banks. So primary cooperative banks from the financial year 2025-26 onward, they have to lend 75% of their ANBC to the priority sector आपका, ठीक है. So now they belongs to similar to RRBs and small finance bank, ठीक है. And if it comes to the micro enterprises or advanced to weaker section, ठीक है. So it is आपका, it is 12% now, ठीक है. So that's why it is mentioned here 12% आपका, ठीक है. This is, that's why it is mentioned 12% here, ठीक है. So please go through these particular one and try to remember these one or revise these one, ठीक है. They are definitely going to help you in your upcoming examination, ठीक है. तो इतना क्लियर है दोस्तों, आगे बढ़ते हैं. So now weaker section, when it comes to the weaker section, ठीक है, under the priority sector lending category, so they include आपका weaker section which include these areas, ठीक है. Small and marginal farmers, artisan village cottage industries, where with a credit limit up to 1 lakh, ठीक है. Then we have beneficiaries of government schemes, ठीक है. DRI schemes is mentioned here, ठीक है. We have scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, self-help groups, distressed farmers, ठीक है. Distressed non-farmers, individual women borrowers, person with disabilities, and Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana account holders and all, ठीक है. They all generally categorize under the weaker section or the other category of the, which is the 8th category of your PSL guidelines by the RBI itself, ठीक है. Now देखो, this is CAIB, तो यहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं they'll ask you the, they are going to test your knowledge by, they can test by any angle, ठीक है. तो वो आपको जैसे ये छोटा सा पॉइंट है या ये स्कीम्स के एग्जांपल्स के साथ they can ask you the questions, ठीक है. So we have to prepare very well, right? Now MSMEs are very very important areas, ठीक है. So basically if you talk about the Indian economy, so we have very important role from the MSMEs, ठीक है. MSMEs का बहुत बड़ा contribution है, ठीक है. As a like one of the fastest growing economy, manufacturing which is contributing very well in the overall GDP आपका, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे MSMEs का role is very important and government is coming with so many initiatives आपका, वो PLI से related हो या others हो, ठीक है, to facilitate these particular this particular areas and all, ठीक है. And even we do have RBI guidelines also, and there is recently during the budgetary announcement of 2025-26 they changed the definition of MSME also, ठीक है. So this can be your point and this is your new definition, ठीक है. So when it comes to the MSME definition, so now the new definition is आपका, this is the old one, ठीक है. So this is आपका means this was for 24-25, ठीक है. Old means आपका till 24-25, ठीक है. And this is आपका 25-26 post budget आपका, ठीक है. So these are earlier basically these are generally categorized on the basis of investment and turnover. Now they have changed this one. Micro enterprise up to earlier investment was 1 crore, now it is आपका 2.5 crores, ठीक है. Turnover earlier it was 5 crore, now it is आपका 10 crore, ठीक है. In case of small enterprises, investment 110 crores, now it is 25 crores आपका. Then the next one is आपका overall turnover is 100 crores. Medium enterprises earlier it was 50 crores, now it is 125 crores, and the turnover is आपका 500 crores, ठीक है. So when we define MSME, ठीक है, so आपका so for that particular one the classification will be based on this particular, that means there will be more and more companies which will fall under this particular category, ठीक है. एक ऐसी कंपनी जिसके अंदर 125 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट है, ठीक है. So that will be आपका part of medium enterprises, so they can also avail some benefit from the governments आपका, या if someone like जहाँ पे investment is up to 2.5 crores and आपका turnover is up to 10 crores, so they'll fall under this particular category. That means they are going to avail the benefits under PLI or any other scheme also. Okay? So this definition or the changes is again very important one. So please do remember this one. Okay? This can help you in your upcoming examination. Now next one, interest rate on advances. Okay? So RBI guidelines on interest rate on advances. Okay? So as per the master direction आपका 4 September 2019, where we switch to external benchmark link आपका external benchmark based lending rate, like 2016 2010 we come up with the base rate, then आपका 2016 MCLR, then we switch to MCLR to आपका external benchmark lending rate. ठीक है, so now at present we have MCLR as well as आपका external benchmark lending rate. ठीक है, both we use in different areas. Understanding those particular areas is very important. ठीक है, so as per RBI master direction 4th September 2019, bank must follow specific guidelines for pricing interest rate on advances. The focus is on improving the transparency and better transmission of monetary policy. So RBI's recommendation आपका internal benchmark, which is MCLR, marginal cost of fund based lending rate, have an effective transmitted the monetary policy. RBI recommended switching to external benchmark based lending rate system, and which become effective from 1st October 2019. 1st October 2019, this was the date. General guidelines, bank must charge interest on RBI direction. A bank should have board approval policy for interest rate on advances, for any kind of advances from it is mentioned here also. 1st April to October 2019, floating rates to individual and MSMEs must be linked with the आपका this and आपका external benchmark lending rate आपका. ठीक है, so this is the one, correct है. तो please do remember these date आपका या other categories and all. External benchmark lending rate for loans, MCLR continue unless the bank opt to EBLR. ठीक है, so EBLR basically this is the kind of continuation of this particular statement. ठीक है, linked to an EBLR. ठीक है, EBLR for other loans, MCLR continue until bank opt for the EBLR. ठीक है, so apart from this floating, जैसे यहाँ पे we have floating rate loans which are generally linked with the EBLR. ठीक है, floating rate loan like in case of home loan, let's say that home loan is linked with the repo rate. ठीक है, so as repo rate change आपका there will be a changes in EBLR also. ठीक है, but earlier we were having some sort of issues with the MCLR things. तो वहाँ पे direct linkage को build करने में there was some आपका technical difficulties. So we come up with this one and we link all floating rate with the EBLR. And apart from that, we are using that same MCLR itself, especially for the fixed rate. But nowadays, bank they can use for fixed rate as well as for floating rate EBLR system. So bank can offer both fixed and floating rate loan. Fixed rate loan beyond 3 years must meet or exceed the benchmark rate for the that term. Interest on small value personal loan must reflect actual cost and reasonable return. Foreign currency loan interest rate must be linked to market determined external benchmark. This ensure better transparency, accountability and alignment with the market based rates आपका. So that is the one. So MCLR आपका, MCLR, so maximum like nowadays itself we use MCLR, बहुत जगह पर आपका इसको यूज किया जाता है, स्पेशली आपका फिक्स रेट के अंदर. So MCLR is a benchmark interest rate system introduced by RBI to improve the transparency in the loan pricing by bank. It ensure loan rate are aligned with the bank cost of fund. Earlier we used to have BPLR, benchmark prime lending rate or base rate. वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या था कि रेट they generally get fixed for the 3 years आपका. ठीक है, and 3 year is nowadays like we are living in a dynamic era, so every day there are some sort of changes in the economies or even आपका regular basis पे even RBI itself they change monetary policy. आपका इन अ फ्रीक्वेंसी बेसिस, समटाइम दे इंक्रीज डिक्रीज इन ऑल, ठीक है। तो कहीं ना कहीं आपका जो प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही थी बैंक, दे आर लाइक इट वाज चैलेंजिंग फॉर बैंक इटसेल्फ कि हाउ टू एडजस्ट थिंग्स आपका, स्पेशली हाउ टू मैनेज देयर कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स इन ऑल, ठीक है। So for that sake, we come up with MCLR, which include marginal cost of fund, cost of new borrowing and return on net worth, negative carry on a CRR, loss due to no return on CRR. So basically, we used to calculate this one. Require CRR into marginal cost divide by 1 plus CRR, 1 minus CRR. ठीक है. Operating cost आपका cost of offering and servicing loans, and tenure premium आपका cost of lending for longer duration, uniform for each loan tenure type आपका, ठीक है. So this was the basic areas or components of your आपका MCLR, ठीक है. So calculation of MCLR is generally based on marginal cost of fund, negative carry on CRR, and operational cost. So these are the key component which we generally use while we calculate the MCLR thing. ठीक है. Bank must publish MCLR for the following maturities. आपका overnight, 1 month, 3 months, आपका 6 months and 1 year. ठीक है. तो they should be published on बैंक वेबसाइट itself. ठीक है. तो ये बैंक के वेबसाइट पे हमें जो रेगुलर इंटरवल पे which we have to आपका publish, and the calculation आपका which is generally linked with these three component, or which is generally done on the basis of these three components, and we use this particular one so we can manage those particular things. Okay? Now the next thing, or I guess this is the final things, which is part of your unit 17, ठीक है, that is something related to NPAs and their provisioning, ठीक है. So I hope NPA वाला portion सबने आपका बहुत बार स्टडी किया होगा, and even in BFM subject also we discuss NPAs in आपका डिटेल, ठीक है. तो वो चीज़ देखो, ये चीज़ें जो लिंक चीज़ें हैं ना, वहाँ पे आपको अपना टाइम बचाना है, ठीक है. सो एनपीए क्या होता है, व्हाट इज द एसेट क्लासिफिकेशन, व्हाट इज द प्रोविजनिंग, दैट रिमेन सेम. बीएफएम के अंदर इट इज इन मोर डिटेल. सो that topic, if you are covering that one, these things will automatically cover. Just say what was the overall aapka content given in this particular one. I'll give you a quick summary. So first they have given the SMA account, okay, special mention account, and we have three categories, okay, as per the RBI classification. SMA 0, 1 to 30 days, then aapka 31 to 60 days, SMA 1. SMA 2 is aapka 61 to 90 days, okay. And after that we generally declare that particular asset as a non-performing asset. In non-performing asset, we have three categories. आपका, these are basically NPA, आपका doubtful substandard asset. We have doubtful asset and we have loss asset. For the calculation for the provisioning purpose, we have three categories of doubtful asset: doubtful 1, doubtful 2, doubtful 3, and the sorry. And the provisioning for all these three categories is something आपका 25%, 40%, 100% for the secured portion. For unsecured portion, it is unsecured portion it become 100%. ठीक है. So classification, provisioning आपका we have to do provisioning for the standard asset also. ठीक है. So asset classification for standard asset, I'll just show you, ठीक है. And this is about the your NPAs. Substandard asset आपका up to 6 month or up to 1 years, it is 15% in case of your um, in case of your secured portion. For unsecured portion आपका for this it is 25%, ठीक है. So this is the case आपका, ठीक है. So unsecured portion 25% plus 10%, and here it is आपका 15%. If you go in detail, 6 month आपका 15, but after 6 months it is generally categorized under your 25%, ठीक है. So this is something आपका substandard asset secured, where we have some sort of areas कि that asset is remain NPA for 1 year. That is आपका substandard asset, ठीक है. तो अभी वो NPA हुए 1 साल तक आपका इस कैटेगरी के अंदर है, तो that is generally categorized as a substandard asset, ठीक है. Substandard asset unsecured unsecured आपका if it comes to the unsecured one, ठीक है. So up to 6 month आपका 25%, ठीक है. And it is आपका then other than infrastructure loan, ठीक है. See, I miss one thing, ठीक है. Substandard secured आपका period, this is the time duration, and this is the normal provisioning. ठीक है, your 15% for secured portion. Accelerated provisioning आपका we go to आपका 25%. ठीक है, for unsecured up to 6 month it is your 25%. ठीक है, but in case of infrastructure loan it is 25 it is 20% up to 6 month. Above 6 month it is 25%. ठीक है, then other than infrastructure loan आपका 20% in all. And here it is, if it is आपका if we talk about the accelerated provisioning, so it become आपका 40%. ठीक है, doubtful category 1 after becoming NPA, after crossing that line of substandard asset, it will be shifted in doubtful 1, then doubtful 2, doubtful 3. ठीक है, in case of your unsecured loan it is 100%, but in case of secured loan, second years of default, 25%. And then we have your second in case of secured portion आपका 25%, unsecured आपका 100%, doubtful 2 आपका 3 and 4 years 40%, unsecured 100, and it is आपका 100 ठीक है. In case of doubtful 3 आपका 5th year onwards it is 100%, 100%. ठीक है, so this is secured portion, even it become 100%. And in case of loss asset, the third category of NPAs or the final category, where first of all that loan should be written off from the books. पहले तो हमें अगर कोई ऐसा doubtful में आया, loss में आता है, तो we generally write off those particular loan, we make a dent on our balance sheet, and we clear those particular one with like after writing off those particular. For any purpose, if we are keeping those particular loan in our books, so we have to create a provisioning of 100%. Okay? So guys, this is very important one. This is going to help you in your BFM also, and even in BFM itself we have discussed these particular thing in detail. So please go through those particular, you will automatically get this one. So they have given a further bifurcation of infrastructure or non-infrastructure, so this also help you. ठीक है, तो आपको case studies मिलेंगे, and for those to solve those particular case studies, उनको आसानी से solve किया जा सकता है if you know these particular areas आपका. ठीक है, now what are the asset classification and all that we have discussed. Now the next thing, provisioning for standard asset. ठीक है, so provisioning for standard asset आपका, so bank are required to make general provision for standard asset at own this one. ठीक है, so basically the basic guidelines are basically farm credit आपका to agriculture 0.25%. ठीक है, these are the standard asset. ठीक है, जहाँ पे we are getting regular income or regular EMIs from the customer, but still we have to make some sort of provisioning in case of that loan is given in the field of agriculture farm credit, so you have to make a provision of 0.25%. ठीक है, in case of आपका commercial real estate it is 1%. ठीक है, in case of commercial real estate residential housing 0.75%. ठीक है, 0.75%. Housing loan extended at teaser rate 2% initially, then provisioning on these asset would be revert to 0.40% after 1 year. For first year it is आपका 2%, then gradually it will decrease to आपका 0.40%. ठीक है, restructured advances 5% आपका. ठीक है, restructured advances as stipulated in the prudential norms of the structuring of advances, and they will be requiring 5%. ठीक है, so bank areas of this, and they will be requiring, they just generally categorize under the substandard asset and they require provisioning of 5%. ठीक है, all other loans, ठीक है, all other means apart from these they are generally categorized under आपका the provisioning requirement for all others apart from these given datas and all, it is 0.40%. ठीक है, so now the only challenge is कि you have to memorize these particular things, and this is the portion what I जहाँ पे I'll recommend कि just go through the areas, just try to build your understanding, solve some case studies and all, उनके through you will be able to recall these particular things. Alright guys, चलो next one, asset classification. There are some key pointers which I have mentioned here, so you can quickly go through these particular one and they'll help you out. Okay, so we have already discussed all these points. Okay, so loss must be written off आपका और 100% provision. ठीक है, loss asset, doubtful asset 100% provisioning is required for unsecured part. Provisioning 100% of secured portion in case of doubtful more than 3 years. Substandard unstructured exposure require 25% provisioning. Infrastructure loan with escrow mechanism आपका only 20%, which we discussed recently. ठीक है. Realizable value is less than 10%. ठीक है. The exposure is unsecured. At 15% it is considered secured आपका. ठीक है. होम लोन्स आपका ठीक है, इट इज 0.50%. Restructured advances 0.5%. And teaser rate आपका initially 2%. After 1 year they came down to 0.40%. ठीक है. So this is the overall your आपका this is all about your unit 1. ठीक है. Fair practices code are there. Fair practices code regarding the banking things. ठीक है. So application for loan and their processing. RBI issue guidelines on fair practices code for lending. ठीक है. These are to be compulsorily followed by all banks. ठीक है. These guidelines are related to application for loan and their processing, loan appraisal and term and condition, disbursement of loan, post disbursement, and we have general guidelines relating to discrimination based on sex, caste, and religion, harassment in recovery, transfer, takeovers, or even आपका loan about the loan recovery agents or others, timing, everything is generally mentioned under this one. Prudential guidelines regarding the interest rate disclosure और आपका term and policies disclosure and everything which generally comes under this one. ठीक है दोस्तों. So this is all about your unit number 17. I hope you enjoy this particular session again and you get a few ideas related to this particular one again. So now like I'm going to what I'll be doing again. So I'll be adding regular on regular basis. I'll keep adding these particular things in your curriculum or I'll be keep uploading these particular one. Please do share your feedback. So if you want some add-ons from my side, okay, so what we are doing, जैसे we have already done practice for unit 17 and 18, ठीक है, but what I feel people they do not have knowledge around those areas, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा stuck हो रहे हैं, चीज़ें उतनी समझ में नहीं आ रही. So what I now what I'm trying कि first for 4-5 days I'll be record maximum content or I'll take some live session also again in the name of Brahmastra session. So I'll be providing you the basic concept areas and all first. Then morning and evening will be having marathon session आपका in your exam week. So that will help you to build your areas. ठीक है, जहाँ से you can मतलब unit wise each I'm going to touch each and every unit and within unit we are going to touch each and every sub unit. ठीक है, जो भी important areas हैं वो. So we will I'll try my best to make sure कि आप आने वाले एग्जामिनेशंस के अंदर इस सब्जेक्ट को बहुत अच्छे से हैंडल करें क्योंकि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. BFM आई हैव डन, आई एम वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट BFM, कोई टेंशन नहीं है, बहुत सारा कंटेंट मैंने ऑलरेडी डिलीवर किया हुआ है. बट AFM इवन ABFM and BRBL we have lots of content, HRM we have, risk management we have, but ABM was the subject. तो यहाँ पे that's why next 10 to 14 days my full dedication will be to this particular subject and will going to like whatever is required for your examination, I'll try to provide those particular things. All right guys, so do share your feedback and if you have any suggestion please do let me know. For sure I'm going to work on those particular areas and so together we'll learn things and we will build areas and so we can perform well in our upcoming examinations. All right guys, so this is it from my side. Thank you for joining this session, thank you for watching this session. Bye bye, take care all, have a nice day, thank you.